From Statesville, North Carolina to Dallas, Texas. From Clarksville, Tennessee to Liberal, Kansas. Let's ride. We want to ride shotgun with you for the next hour, talking trucking with Dean and Doty, Christian and Kumar. Welcome to episode 62, everyone. How are you doing?
Hello.
Doing great. Thanks, Russ.
Yeah. On screen, you can see Joel Howell in Barberton, Ohio, Christian Sneed in Roanoke, Virginia, myself on the moon, and Yosemite Sam, where are you at?
Underwater.
Nate?
Shelbyville, Indiana.
Shelbyville. Oh, he's home.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
In
that's
his
where it is. And then Kumar, the famous Kumar.
Hello.
Ian Dunlap on the news.
Hello.
And our drivers on the show this week, joining us, Jim Mackey, as always. Nate on screen, like I said, Kevin, and Bill Parsley. Thanks for joining us this week, Bill. It's your first time on Talkin Truckin. Where are you at, Bill?
Coming into Nashville.
Coming into Nashville. Traffic time.
Exactly.
Crazy town.
Yeah. It's terrible there, too, in traffic.
Everybody sings.
Kevin, where are you at? Are you at home, or did you leave yet?
No, I'm still at home.
Okay. So, Mackie, you're at home too. Everybody's at home. We're going to starve this week.
I'm at home.
Yeah.
First time in 5 weeks I'm at home.
Yeah. What have you been doing? Working around the farm down there in Brenham?
I had to get some lights ready on the trailer. They took off this morning early, went to a cattle show at Junior Nationals in Wisconsin for this weekend. And I got to work on my truck, change the gasket on the air compressor. Then I'll be ready to go to work again.
Okay.
Darn it.
So, like I said, we got trucking news with Ian, Wide World Sports with Joel. We skipped last week where the drivers battle Kumar and trucking questions with Kumar, and there might be some fishing questions in there in honor of our fishing contest. Also, I'll go over the fishing contest in a second, but we had a conversation with Kumar and I did with the guy from St. Christopher's, the fund that we collected the money from the first half of the year. We've raised $1,016, and they were just honored that we did it for them. They had no idea. But he was going to try and come on this week, but that didn't happen, Kumar, apparently?
No.
Okay.
So
He said this week or next week.
Yeah, we're going to do next week.
Okay. So we'll have next week, we'll have the guy from the St. Christopher Foundation, which is for truckers, families in need, and medical. What else is it for, Jim, to help with medical things when...
It's basically just medical assistance for truckers that can't afford it, that need it.
And their families, yeah.
Yeah.
A great cause, and we were glad to help. He was just so enamored with that we did this. So he was real happy, wasn't he, Kumar?
Yeah, he was.
He was excited. He said that actually, and so maybe they do other things, because he said they're going to use it to buy,
PlayStations,
iPads, stuff like that for iPads for kids.
For kids, yeah.
Truckers' kids. So
yeah, it'll be good.
That's really cool. We raised $1,016. I told him we raised $5,000 last year for St. Jude's. I said, I'll be honest with you, that we did, but I said we went a lot longer. We did that for the most of since we started the show. So I said maybe we'll be able to do a little better for you next year. We'll start again in January. And our fishing contest. So if you like to fish, like we've been saying, you've seen it on our social media, TikTok, Facebook. What else?
TikTok, Facebook, Instagram. We got a Twitter.
Spotify.
But we don't use it very much. Spotify, YouTube. So.
Yeah. So $500 for first place, and it doesn't have to be the biggest fish. It's just the best all-around picture with you in it. You can enter more than once. I think we decided maybe twice.
I think three pictures, and we'll pick the best of three, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you can enter it 3 times, and we'll pick the best of your 3 and move them forward.
Yeah, and Johnny 5 actually already entered a couple pictures. So.
Okay.
Yep.
And my youngest son, Johnny, who listens to the show and watches our TikToks and gets a kick out of what we do, thought I was really cool when I rapped. He was showing it to his buddies. But he's got a couple ideas. One he's going to do with his grandpa on his mom's side for the fishing contest, and then one he's going to do with his brother Matthew that does our video for the show. So he's going to enter a couple times. Yeah, I've heard some good feedback. Some people that are even talked to Brandon today about it out in Montana. He's still salty that he didn't win with all those fish from Alaska.
Losers generally are salty.
And the Sneed household took it first place. But 500 for first place, 300 for second, and 150 for third.
Yep.
So let's go. Ends Labor Day. Let's see what you got. Send them into our Facebook, TalkinTruckin@gmail.com. No G's, Talkin Truckin. And yeah, so that's where we're at. So Joel, you want to go through the sports real quick, and then we'll jump into some fuel and some topics and some news.
Sure thing. Get right to it.
Yeah.
All right. No commercials. What's up, sports fan? It's that time again. Welcome back. I am Joel Howe, and we're going to talk a little sports here in the third week of June. Going around. First off, talk some football, NFL. Not much, but the off-season stuff. Training camp begins next month. Late next month. Each team a little different. It'll be between the 25th and the end of the month. USFL playoffs. United States Football League in their first year. 8 teams. We're down to 4 now. The whole season's been played so far in Birmingham, Alabama. But starting this weekend, we got the playoffs. The last 4 teams: New Jersey Generals against Philadelphia Stars, 3 o'clock here in Canton. And later at 8 p.m., Birmingham Stallions take on New Orleans Breakers. 8 p.m. here in Canton, those 2 teams, the winners, those 2 teams will meet Sunday, July 3rd here in Canton for the championship game. Moving up to the NBA, congratulations to the Dubs, winning their 4th title since 2015. Golden State Warriors defeated Boston Celtics.
Yeah, I lost that bet. So that's. Did you write down? I lost that to Christian, as always.
I'm sure he knows already.
50. That was for 50, right, Christian? Oh, you're muted.
That was for 5, right? 50.
Yeah, that's my bad. I muted myself and spoke. I said, "Don't worry, St. Christopher."
He's talking money, and you hit the mute button.
That's it. I get all excited.
Well, it's not St. Christopher's. It was because we're into St. Jude's, but
St. Jude's now. Yeah.
Yeah. But it was 50, and I think it was 20 on that one night bet we made.
Yes, correct. Yeah.
So
Side bet.
basically 70 from my loss to the Sneeds again.
We're doing it for the kids. That's fine. Doing it for the kids. As long as it comes out of your pocket, not mine, I'm happy. I don't care where it goes.
Making him rich. Congratulations to Golden State Warriors again over in the...
Wait, they won?
Yeah.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah.
Fourth title since 2021.
See, look at Russ's face. It's really red. See?
All right. Well, you can make it up NHL Finals, perhaps. Game 4 tonight, Tampa Bay in their 3rd straight Stanley Cup Finals, getting blown out the other night in Denver, 7-0, coming home and redeeming themselves, winning that game, cutting the lead in half. Instead of 3-0, it's 2-1. Colorado leads Game 4 tonight. Colorado's favorite. That is in Tampa Bay, 8 p.m. on ABC, Game 4. Best 4 out of 7. Over in Major League Baseball, American League East, New York Yankees still running away with it. Best in the bigs at 50-18. Over in the Central, Cleveland Guardians neck and neck with the Minnesota Twins. Currently, they're in first place at 35-28. Go Guardians. Out west, Houston still remains up top, 42-25. Over in the National League East, New York Mets remain at 45-25, lead over the Braves. In the Central, St. Louis and Milwaukee are all tied up at 39-31. And out west, the Dodgers still hold a slight edge over San Diego. Dodgers at 41-25. Over in College World Series, 4 teams remain. College World Series, Omaha, June 25th to the 27th. 4 teams left. Texas A&M takes on Oklahoma today. on ESPN. And tonight, Arkansas battles Ole Miss, and we'll have a winner by the end of the month on that. NASCAR, June 26th, down in Nashville, the Ally 400 at 4 p.m. Current standings in NASCAR at number 5, Chase Elliott, the number 9. In the number 9, Chevy, representing Napa at Hendricks Motorsports. Number 4, Denny Hamlin. Number 11, Toyota, FedEx Gibbs Racing. Number 3, William Byron in the 24 Chevy. Exalta. Exalta.
Who's in the Skittles car? Isn't there a Skittles car?
Jeff
I don't
Gordon.
watch. Oh,
Jeff Gordon.
That's Hendricks Motorsports. Number 2, Joey Logano in the Ford number 22, Pennzoil Shell for Penske Racing. And number 1, Ross Chastain, still holding tight at number 1, Chevy Advent Health for Trackhouse Racing. Over in golf.
The Skittle car is driven by Kyle Busch.
okay.
Kyle Busch. He's pretty good, I heard. And in golf, June 23rd to 26th, tomorrow through Sunday, the Travelers Championship in Cromwell, Connecticut, par 70, $8.3 million purse. Top 5 golf PGA thus far. Number 5, Justin Thomas. Number 4, Colin Morikawa. That's what I said. Number 3, John Rahm. Number 4, Roy McIlroy. And number 1, still Scotty Scheffler. And this week in history, June 22nd, 1944, Franklin D. Roosevelt signs the GI Bill designed for compensating returning troops from the war.
So Joel, when you were in the Marine Corps, I was in the Army. When you were in the Marine Corps, did you sign up for the GI Bill?
I did.
So did I. And so I think it was it the first 12 months or the first 24 months that you pay in? It was like $100 a month we paid in out of our check.
A long time ago. I know you had 10 years to redeem it.
Yeah, and I didn't. I missed that boat because there was quite a bit of money there.
Yeah.
And you only put in like $1,200. I think it was the first year you were in. You put $100 in a month, and then you got 10 years or so to redeem it.
Yeah.
And I didn't. I never did. So I was stupid.
Oh, let's go back in time.
Did you use any of yours?
No, I can't say I did either. But it's a long story. But could use it in truck driving school.
Yeah.
Didn't work.
So, yeah. Also, John Rahm, I heard, joined the Live Golf.
I didn't hear that.
I heard it yesterday on Bleacher Report, and he was the one kind of like dogging reporters last week when they were asking about he was in the PGA, and then bam,
he's in it.
He's in it. Yeah. Okay. So they must have offered him a couple $100 million.
Isn't he still eligible to play in the PGA tournament?
I don't, anything that they were already registered in, they can still play in. That's what I read. So anyway, guys, welcome Mike Doty. He had 2 root canals today. It looks like your jaw is swollen. I didn't think you were going to make it, so we didn't even send you the link. I thought you were out of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what he said about you, Mike?
Anything good anymore for root canals. they just numb it up, and they started drilling before it was all the way numb. Though I had to stop them real quick.
You got to stop them.
Sounds like a country song I heard.
Yeah.
So overall, how do you feel now? Is it hurt at all, or?
No, it's not bad, believe it or not.
Wait till tonight.
Yeah. I think, they had to end up giving me 3 shots of numbing stuff because they kept the first 2 times they put cold on it. Can you feel it? Yeah. Can you feel it? Yeah. And then they started drilling, then I still felt it. So they numbed me up a little more. Wow. So I think that hasn't worn off yet.
Did you get the gas too?
No, there's none of that for the root canal.
Always get the gas. It's
no way.
Al dente.
Oh, my son Matt had what do you call that? Where they stick the tube down your throat to look because he was having heartburn problems. Yeah, endoscopy. And I went with him because you got to have someone drive you because they give you the gas. And then it took 20 minutes or something. And then they told me, come on back there in the in the area where they recover. And he was so doped up, and it was so hilarious. I don't remember all the things he was saying. Me and the nurse were almost on the floor laughing. But it lingered, and so when they released him, I'm walking him out, and he was really, hardly could walk. And I'm kind of holding him, walking him through, and you got to walk through the waiting area where everybody was waiting on people. And he was just like, "Hi," it was so funny. He was talking to people in a way he don't remember anything, but it was hilarious.
I'm terrible with that stuff. Like I got my wisdom teeth pulled out. I guess it was like beginning of high school, and they knocked me out completely for that. And I woke up. Well, I guess I didn't wake up. Basically, I woke up in the Wendy's drive-thru with my mom. She got me a Frosty, and she's like, "You've been so terrible to me this whole time." I'm like, I don't even remember getting in this car. Like, all of a sudden I'm just in Wendy's drive-thru. But
that's the only time I got knocked out at a dentist was for my wisdom teeth. And they gave me gas or whatever they give you.
I had the same thing. It was years ago, but I had all 4 impacted, so I had to go to a surgeon. But I don't remember much.
You wait till you get that colonoscopy.
Kumar, I got a story that's kind of similar, but it doesn't involve the doctor's office.
The colonoscopy, in case I didn't update, because I know I made fun of Joel when he turned 50 or 51, and they scheduled his. But I went for a checkup. I just turned 50. Everybody knows that in April. So that's the first thing she said to me, my doctor. She said, "Okay, well, where do you want to go for your colonoscopy?" I was like, "Does it really matter?" So she set it up, but she said they're booked a little out. It might be 4 weeks or so. So
They'll
going.
try and fit you in, no pun intended.
Yeah, I'm going. Yeah.
I was going to buy you another one for Christmas so you could get 2 in 1 year, Russ.
Hey, it's just before we move on, this thing's sitting here on my desk. Let me tell you about it, because we got another one coming, and we're going to do something with it. But
yeah, we're getting all kinds of ammo here.
Arm in the office.
So Christian sent this to me about, I don't know, a month ago or so, Christian.
Yeah, there's a story behind that, isn't there?
Yeah, so he sent it, and I'm just going to tell it. He messed up the address. It ended up, he kept asking me, "Did anything come in the mail? Anything come to the office?" I'm like, nope. And then we realized the address was different, but we couldn't find the place that it went to. So
wait. Whoa. Okay, we'll go back to that. Keep going. Keep telling your story.
Okay, so anyway, today he told us that it checked with Cricket Wireless. So Carol got on the phone and called a couple of the Cricket Wireless, which I don't even know what that is. I guess it's like a Verizon or something.
It's like Boo Boo Wireless.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like a pay wireless plan.
Yeah, it's where you get your burner phone.
So yeah, they had the package there, and so she went down and got it. And she comes in, and I open it up, and this thing is, I don't know how much this weighs. It's got to be 25 pounds. Did you feel how heavy it was, Christian?
No, see.
Oh, you sent it.
Yeah,
direct
they mail it direct. But yeah, I didn't imagine it was going to be light.
It's very heavy. So I opened it up, and I immediately thought it was bullets. And I'm like, why did he send me bullets? And Ian's the one with an arsenal in his basement. And I'm like, well, maybe I could sell it to Ian if it's bullets. But it's really cool. So it is a
362 by 39 rounds. Oh no, that's not what I sent you.
a poker kit. It's really cool.
And you shoot that out of a gun?
Yeah.
7.62.
So guys, you can check this out. Because of the mishap with Christian's dyslexia on addresses.
No, I left the 0 out. See, 0 is not a number, but it is a placeholder, guys. It's very important. If it says 10 something, you have to put the 0 in.
Yeah,
otherwise,
he left
it's
the 0.
13.
Ended up at the Cricket place. Anyway, so we got it.
I thought it was at the grocery store.
It's a very nice gift, and we have another one coming because since it was lost for so long, Christian got the company to send us another one.
Yeah, and by the way, kudos to Man Crate. They did it free of charge. They knew it was. I even admitted it was my error and said, "Hey, I don't expect you to pay for it," and they're sending another one out.
So here's what we're gonna do. I'm keeping this one. I'm gonna take it home. I put it on my desk to just show everybody. But next week, between Dodie and Joel and Christian and Kumar and Ian and the drivers that are on the show, they can give us some ideas too. We're gonna come up with a question, and whoever is closest, and we can call around during the day to some of our associates, some of your associates, Christian, your office, my office, Metal Arc. We can see, and drivers get their answers before next week's show. And whoever's the closest to whatever our question is, we'll get it, and we'll give them the one that's coming. So somebody's going to benefit from Christian leaving the 0 out. So
thank you, Cricket Wireless, for not taking it home.
Yeah.
Did you guys ever actually get like a Man Crate, like the actual crate?
Yeah,
The
so
wood crate?
yeah, I have. Yeah, with the little pry bar that you've got to get it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Metal Arc had sent me one a while back. Forgot what it was for. It was, grilling materials and things like that that came in a crate. Was that one wrapped that you got right there?
It was in a box. Yeah.
In a box. Was it like taped box?
Taped up pretty good.
Okay,
Yeah, I
cool.
had to
Yeah,
cut it.
good.
Yep.
I just don't know if they had taken the card and like opened it up and threw it in the trash or not. So
Honestly, the shipping had to be a lot on this. This thing's got to be 25 pounds. I'm not kidding.
Yeah.
It's heavy.
yeah.
Heavy.
Again, we'd like to thank Man Crates for the free second one that they're sending out. So.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. Well, someone's going to benefit. So Christian, Dodie, Joel, Kumar, drivers, Ian, let's think of a good question. Could be trucker related, could be fishing related, whatever, for next week, and let's give that away. It's a very cool. It's a very cool gift. So Christian, we missed what you were going to go over last week. We went down a rabbit hole of some really good conversation.
Yeah.
So can are you ready? You want to hit up what you
Yeah, I
had?
can hit it up. Sure thing.
Okay, let's do it.
Yeah, let me share this thing. All right, everybody can see it. That's what the computer tells me. You guys can see it. Episode 62.
Bill Parsley, are you still here? Just checking. See if there's audio.
So I covered a number of guys. We don't have to cover them all, but occupancy-based revenue, I was looking at cent per mile, looking at the overall mileage that we're running and the gross revenue, and we're hovering right around $3, give or take. We have one gentleman at $2.65, and the rest of them kind of trend from there. You'll see that not everybody had 100% occupancy. I know that's something that usually the top earners do end up providing, or even the guys that we bring on the show, because it likes to show what total earning capability is. The first drivers from Florida ran a little bit more of a peculiar run than they normally do. Was out in Nebraska, went through Kentucky and Ohio and Macon, Georgia. Total revenue here was $9,350. Had a lot of mileage, 3,525, and it was $265 a mile. They were
Was that
800.
a van?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. All these are. Yep. 850 miles over their target. 110% of their occupancy-based revenue with 110 or 100% revenue. So they did occupy the full week. Driver B, he's out of Ohio. Ran a similar lane that we generally run, which is the Mid-Atlantic, a little bit of the Midwest, and then to the Northeast with our customer freight. Pretty good week. So did not occupy the full week, basically because where it shows two loads, there were issues there, either hours of service or mechanical. But what you will see is $1,100 over their target. So they did $9,100 on their target of $8,000 a week right now, $3.23 a mile on 2,800 miles. Fairly good week. Whoops, should not have done that yet. The other driver, he's out of Ohio as well. Went Groveport, Ohio with our customer, down to Georgia, back up to Kentucky, back out to Rhode Island. Again, that's all customer freight, drop trailer vans. 296 all miles, and that's the only thing we measure here because that's all we drive. $950 over their target at $89.50. 100% occupied the truck, 112% of their revenue. Driver D is out of West Virginia. Ran at $3.14 a mile. It ran 2,736 miles for a total of $8,600. 100% of the target. They met their target just a little bit above it, $600 above. So it was 108% on the revenue-based occupancy, then 100% of their occupancy for the week. And then we'll end here with driver E, which is in North Carolina. That's where he's out of. Again, $7,800 target, mostly because of the home time. Went to Zanesville, Ohio, went down to Georgia, and back up to New Hampshire. So you can see a lot of what we were doing was doing a bounce and basically ending on a Monday delivery in the Northeast. That Monday to Tuesday is generally pretty light, but as long as we get them out there and everybody delivers on time, it doesn't affect the rest of their week. As you can see, they did take one day as far as an unoccupied day on Saturday the 11th. So we don't have to run through that next one. What I also wanted to cover was 2 weeks ago, we spoke about different markets. I talked about a Savannah market, a New Orleans market, and a Houston market. So the first one we're going to look at is Savannah. I'm not going to get too detailed in it. The only thing I want to do is look at how quick markets flip, especially in the Florida going up the coast in a kind of pre through post rut, to call it, with freight as produce comes through. So last week versus the week before that, so last week versus 2 weeks ago, The Savannah market itself, just marking the Savannah market, was down over 700 loads, right? So the one thing we liked about it was 3,500 loads, somewhere about there, the week prior. Not only did that change, but the ratio changed. It didn't change super dramatic, but it does make a difference where we have 13 and a half trucks, loads per truck, excuse me. I put that backwards on there. And then now this week, or this past week, we had 10 loads per truck. Again, that's not trucks per load. So the ratio is that it's still favorable, heavily favored for very tight capacity, showing that you should be able to name your rate or at least get somewhere close to what you would feel would be desirable.
So last week was 10-1?
Yes, last week was 10-1.
And 13-1 the week before that you
13,
went over.
yep,
Yeah.
Exactly. Yep, exactly. And then we have New Orleans here. This is the other place that I really enjoyed. They fell off 1,300 loads week over week, which is a significant drop. What you'll see is that really took their truck ratio to load to truck ratio, right in half. So we had 15.6 2 weeks ago when we were saying, hey, that's the place to go. And then this week it was 7.3. Now, it doesn't mean that everybody that's in that area knows that the truck count and load count has shifted. So you don't want to end up giving up revenue if you don't have to. Consistently stick to the lanes and the rates that you want. But it's just telling you that if you are getting stuck and it's a little later in the day, you may want to let your foot off the throttle to get moved if that 3 o'clock freight train comes and goes. The last market we're going to look at is the Houston market. The Houston market generally has large quantities of freight. It does here again. So it did lose 700 loads, but it lost 700 loads and still had 4,000 on the board. So it's roughly 15%, something like that. But it did drop from 17.4 loads per truck to 11 loads per truck. The markets are still good markets to be in. If you look, this is the van freight from a DAT MCI map. Their indicator as far as whatever's red is really where you want to be, which is a pretty easy line. And then blue is where they're telling you that the ratio of load to truck freight. So this does not count volume as much as it does just the ratio of freight. If you look here, this would be the reefer. And as you can see, a lot of things are expelling. Obviously, there are a lot of proteins and a lot of reefer freight still moving food to get to remain on the shelves where possible. And you can see where we were at, both in Georgia as well as in Texas, are still fairly hot. As you look at van and reefer, they tend to have the same trends, even though they expel out for each other later on. And then finally, here's the flatbed. So we had a driver that had left us recently, and he had a flatbed trailer, and we were moving him with the dry van. And just as things warmed up to make the switch, he left. A great guy. But, one of the things is understanding the market and where you're going. And he said, well, I just hope it's better in a flatbed. I said, if we're not making more money in a flatbed now, then we're doing something significantly wrong with the ratio. So just a good heads up for guys using different pieces of equipment. Understand you always have to know your worth, but sometimes you can charge a little bit more than your worth in areas like this. I know school boards and schools are talking about different books that should be introduced and things like that. I thought I'd take kind of a funny moment to show you some books that we had made for our guys a while ago as a prank to kind of lighten up for the market of bad freight. So we had a couple drivers, which are a little hard to get a hold of now and again. This is a couple of years ago. And so we got books. There's custom books that you can make. And one of them says, we said, where are you? Whoops, meant to block that name out. Well, anyways, Luther Hill out of Southwest Virginia. But it's funny. So you can write in and make your own book or even a portion of it, however you want. But we thought it was funny that you have the potential to be anything you would like to be in this universe. Just believe in yourself and nothing can stop you, even the DOT. Well, maybe not the DOT, but your hours of service, maintenance, or inclement weather might stop you too. And then here's another one we made for what we called the Stanhopes, which is a gentleman named Clay that was with us a while back here at the Meadowlark, in our terminal for the Meadowlark. It showed a time machine. He was late at times. So there's a note inside saying things even more interesting. So I like that. Lois would always say, like, where are the Stanhopes? He ran as a team for a while. And, it wasn't because she didn't know where they were tracking wise, but, whenever she had a schedule for them, they were generally behind it. And the way we dispatch our office is 50 miles an hour average, transit time with 2 to 4 hours minimal load and unload time. So It's feasible. Is it tight at times? Yes. But it says, where the stand hopes, you're still regular chicken. I never forget that you have the power to make history and deliveries on time. So the future's waiting for you, and so are our customers. And then lastly, I know the news is going to cover some news in Virginia as far as our highways, but Operational Safe Driving Week coming up here in a week and a half, and then a brake safety check about 30 to 40 days after that. So make sure you prepare, stop and get all your equipment checked out.
Yep.
And here are the books right here. So we keep them in the office as reading material in our waiting room. So
that's funny.
Those are cool.
Yeah, I like the one about the two guys that were late.
Yes, yeah,
That's
consistently. Yeah, I'll send you a copy, Russ.
To kind of piggyback on that, you went over some rates, and so there's two sides to it: rates, the freight, and the fuel. We're still in a battle with the fuel. We talked quite a bit about it last week, but I brought up probably 10 different places what the fuel average was last week, and so I wanted to go over those. Also, we brought Bill Parsley on the show to talk about the Mudflap app. Is Bill with us still?
Yeah, he's here. He's just
okay.
got on mute.
Okay, maybe get him to, if you can hear us, Bill, unmute, because I'm going to ask you about that here in a few minutes. But anyway, so the average cost for diesel, and this was probably, it was last week, so it'd be like mid-June, 15th area, somewhere around there. Can you throw up that screen share?
Yes, sir.
Oh, Bill might have to mute.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, sorry, Bill. It's a little loud on your end.
Roll up your window.
Yeah, I'll mute until y'all holler at me.
Yeah. So, Christian, you used this before on the show.
Yep.
The right is diesel. It kind of goes over where, what makes up the cost of diesel. So we'll get to that in a second. Average cost of diesel in the United States last week was $5.71. East Coast $5.85. The New England states it says New England $6.12. Lower Atlantic $5.73 a gallon. The Midwest $5.63. The Gulf Coast $5.37. Rocky Mountain area $5.69 a gallon. West Coast $6.42 a gallon, and West Coast, leaving out California, $6.02. So kind of gives you an idea, but the average was $5.71 per gallon. So, Christian, can you go over this, because you went over it before, and I can't see it across the room.
Yeah, sure thing. Yeah, so each of the pumps are split up into 4 different quadrants, and essentially what they look at is the percentage of the cost of diesel and regular fuel. And with that, they're pretty similar to each other. The distribution and marketing of diesel is more expensive, but ultimately crude oil makes in diesel about 47% of its cost. In refining would make 25% of the cost in diesel. Distribution and marketing would make 17%, and then rounding at the top is good old Uncle Sam with taxes at 10%. So 10% of all the costs. So when you're paying $5.80, know that 58 cents of that goes right inside
taxes.
Uncle Sam's pocket for whatever.
So the marketing, Christian, I was looking at that because the left side is gasoline,
yes,
and the right is diesel. So the marketing is 17. I can't read it from here.
Yes, on the left hand, for regular gasoline, it's only 5%.
So what's the difference there? Do you know? Is it just?
No, I don't. I know that there's
it's distribution and marketing.
Right.
Okay.
So it's not just marketing; it's also shipping it all around the country.
Yeah, and I'm not sure what that has to do with it. So I mean, unfortunately, I'm not skilled.
Why it's so much higher than on the gasoline side? But hey, we can find out.
Yeah.
And then so refining, it's what is that, about the same?
Yeah, refining's 1 point higher. It's 26% for gas, 25% for diesel. But crude oil cost is higher for regular gas. It's 59% of the cost of the pump. Not larger by number, but larger by percentage.
So you can take that off screen share now, and I want to kind of open this up. Doty, Joel, anyone, drivers. So our average fuel discount on our fleet through Meadowlark at the TA, I talked to Nikki Bissett, the executive vice president of Meadowlark. She's was in our office today, and she'll be here tomorrow. But I said, I know we've had some differences in what the discount is and where, but basically, in a nutshell, we get 35 cents off the posted cash price on average in the United States at TA. So, I mean, there's fuel being so high, you've got to take advantage of the things that knock it down. If we use the 571 as an average, which was last week as an average in the United States, so 35 cents off of that is going to get you what, 535, 536 or something like that, which is a big help. But let's say you have a truck. Kevin, you still there? Nate, Mackie?
Yep.
So what fuel mileage would you say, what do you average in fuel mileage a week? If you had to, I know Ray knows exactly, and I'll go over his, but what do you think?
I do about 5.5.
You do about 5.5. What about you,
Which
Kevin?
includes the idling time and everything.
Okay.
I'm doing about 5.9 to 6 with idling and everything.
Okay.
And I'm the same as Kevin.
About 6. Okay.
Yep.
Bill, what are you getting? Well, you're just getting into a new truck, but what were you getting, Bill, in that you had a really new truck?
He's muted.
He's muted. Anyway, he can jump on and let us know what kind of fuel mileage he was getting.
I was getting 7 in my T680, but
Okay.
on this one where I just got it, I'm not sure what I'm getting on this one yet.
Yeah, you're probably going to get around 6. I know those trucks. But so if you're getting 5 miles to the gallon, and let's say you're averaging 2,500 miles a week, that's at 5 miles to the gallon, that's 500 gallons. At the national average nationwide last week, that's $2,800. 571 a gallon, that's $2,855 in fuel. So if you're getting 6 miles to the gallon at 2,500 miles, and I know, guys, you can run more than 2,500 miles. I'm just saying on average. If you took it over a 4, 5, 6 week period, you're probably going to see that you're close to that average. Some weeks you can run 32, 33, but it might average around there. So for my example, at 6 miles to the gallon, 2,500 miles, at that's 417 gallons at $5.71. That's $2,381 in fuel. So, Kumar, what's 28.55 on your calculator minus 23.51?
504. I did that in my head.
You did that? Yeah, I saw you with the calculator. So, just right there, I'm not saying that you can change this. I believe that it can be changed. But if you're getting 5, Jim, you're getting 5.5. If you could move up 1 mile per gallon, it's going to put $500 more in your pocket right now.
Well, I understand that, but
right,
it's hard to do depending on where you're running.
I'm sure it is.
I've been running a lot out in the West here lately.
I was going to say, you've been doing a lot of mountains.
With higher fuel prices out there too, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
This is a broad example of, now I'm going to get into some things that, even like with Henry Albert, some of the things that he was talking to us about on fuel economy and less drag on your truck when it comes to kind of tapering things up so they're more aerodynamic. But if you were at 6, like Kevin and Nate, you guys are getting 6 at 2,500 miles. It's $2,381, almost $2,400 in fuel. If you were able to move up to 7 at 2,500 miles, 357 gallons is $2,038. So there's a savings of about $350 in your pocket, not in your fuel tank. Now, I know, Kevin and Nate, you got newer equipment than Ray does. You guys have T680s. Ray has a T700. I think his is a 2013. Ray is very good. He's on vacation this week. That's not why he's not on the show. Ray is great at he maps his fuel mileage, the best place to fuel. But I know exactly what Ray averages, and then what he's averaged. He could tell you for the last 3 years. a month by month or whatever. He's at 6.7. So if he can get that in a 2013, I mean, there's ways you can get it in a 2015, T680. That's pretty close. That's pretty good, I think, 6.7. And the difference really between 5 and 7 is $800 in your pocket. So if you're taking advantage of a fuel discount that you can get, like 35 cents off a gallon, if you're using like, an app that helps you find the cheapest place for fuel or the cheapest TA, if you want to take advantage of that. And then you're coupling it with, everybody's going to hate me, slowing down.
Oh, no.
Here we go. Doty, what do you think? Slowing down.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
most of the time we're just hurrying
I
up
was
to
gonna
wait
say-
anyway.
What's that?
That's the
just-
difference. Go ahead, Mike.
I most of the time we're just hurrying up to wait anyway. But I'll be dead honest. It was always hard for me to slow down.
Yeah, me
It
too.
was hard for me, but I also couldn't bitch about the fuel. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's a catch-22. But it saves fuel, and right now that's the number one thing is fuel.
The number
Fuel
one
cost,
thing.
Fuel cost.
It's the
fuel
biggest
cost.
cost you got. And then we've always said it's kind of like the biggest cost, but now it's doubled. It's just, you really got to think about it, drivers, that, the things that you can do to cut this fuel, because we don't know when it's going to come down. And we're fighting for every penny on, I know Christian, his staff and their terminal, they're fighting for every penny they can on every load, that whether it's customer or spot market, we're doing the same. The volume's not bad overall. The rates aren't bad overall. If we were spending $1,400 a week in fuel, life would still be good. But so what are some of the things?
Well, what makes it so hard to get that extra mile per gallon is because you got to be consistent with your driving, right? You got to consistent and that's why Ray's so good. He's just consistently do, know your truck, do the 65 or wherever the sweet spot is, and you got to do that consistently week to week to week, And for me, I lasted about a day before I was back in it. You know what I mean? It's so hard.
But also, Mike, when you were on the road, you were buying diesel in 230, probably 220.
Yeah,
it's a big difference,
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
It's funny when you said 570, 580, and nobody shook their head like, oh my gosh, I can't believe it. Like, it's starting to set in that this might not be a temporary spike in fuel cost.
I do think it'll level. Just my opinion. I think it'll level off a little bit, but I don't think we'll ever see those days like $3 a gallon anymore in diesel. I just can't. In my mind, I can't see it. I hope we do, but I think it'll taper off somewhere in there. But we have to keep talking about it. Keep thinking about what we can do to save. I mean, that's the enemy. That what can we do to knock that $2,800 at 5 miles a gallon, 2,500 miles, 500 gallons at 571. It's $2,855. $2,855 in fuel. What can we do? What can we do to knock that down?
Well, one thing I
Start
found
drilling.
is that you have to really pay attention to your prices. You have to do the research on your route you're going to where to buy it at. A perfect example is that, like last week, I was in Ogden, Utah. I went into this 1.9 fuel network. I bought fuel for $5.44 a gallon. I thought it was the most I ever spent. $1,000 it took to fill me up, and I thought, well, that's Pilot fuel. Okay, well, we get a discount at Pilot. Well, I left there. I went down the interstate just 2 miles, and there was a Pilot Flying J. The fuel was 45 cents a gallon higher. So you have to really do the research, and you're still getting the same truck brings the fuel to the one place as it does the other place, but you have to research to find your best price.
And fill it up. Get it. And one thing Ray
It
does.
doesn't matter what load it comes off of
Yes,
or whatever.
it'll
When you
balance
get a
out.
buy on fuel, you fill it. And I took 180 gallons. I only hold 200. I planned it to get that far.
Right.
To get that price.
And I'm 100% with you, Jim. I mean, I'll be honest, there's some new guys that we have that, came from, a bad spot, and they really needed to get some money coming in. And so in the beginning, I've said to them, just fuel for what you got right now so we can get you some money coming in and get you a little more in a stable situation. But soon as you get to that stable situation where you got things a little, ironed out, you got to start buying fuel, like Jim said, like Ray said a million times. Plan your route and know the fuel prices, where you're going, and fill up at those spots. Even if it's at the end of your week and you're really buying fuel on this last load of the week, but you're buying it for next week, you're going to save next week because you're paying 30, 40 cents less, in that situation.
Yeah.
And if you're doing that,
what's really depressing is a couple times you go to bed at night and you look at the price, you say, "Oh, yeah, that's a decent price," but I'm gonna fill up in the morning because I know I'll take another 10 gallons because I idled overnight. And you get up and it's 20 cents a gallon higher.
it's happened to you, Jim. We've talked about it on here before.
Yes.
So pay attention
Several
to that
times it's happened.
when you park the truck.
That's what Bill's talking about, the fuel book app, right?
Yeah, I'm going to ask Bill about that.
Nate
And
was
then
trying to
we'll
say
want to get
something,
back
okay?
into Nate and Kevin before we go on to what Bill's doing. So what are some ways that you could, other than slowing the truck down, what else could you do to increase your fuel mileage, even if it's half a mile
Get your chains off the truck
per gallon?
Summer for
Duct
one.
tape
I was gonna
all
say.
of the cracks. All of them. Seriously. Hypermile it.
There are some additives you can put in that'll help your fuel mileage too that are very reasonable.
Yeah.
Create
been
your
going
own
to,
aarodynamics out of cardboard.
What were you
What are
going
you
to say,
gonna
Nate?
Every time I go down to Texas, I've been fueling at Quick Trips because the Quick Trips are anywhere between 20 and 30, sometimes 35 cents cheaper than your other truck stops. So every time I go down to Texas, I always get fuel at Quick Trips. I don't get fuel at neighboring truck stops.
Well, Nate, can you
It's
check?
not only Texas. You go over to Georgia, even up in Iowa, there's a couple of Quick Trips, and they're all 20 to 25 cents cheaper than most anywhere, and it's good fuel.
Yeah. Well, yeah, but what about this? If it's 20 to 30 cents cheaper, is that cheaper than the cash price minus our fuel discount, which
Yes.
is at TA? So it's cheaper than with the discount.
Well, at the TA, it might not be. I wasn't aware we got 35 cents at TA.
Yeah, it shows up.
I figured out that with Loves or Pilot, we get 10 to 15 cents,
Yeah,
and
I
that's
think-
what I was basing it off of.
I think
I've
it's-
got the solution.
I think it's around 20 cents at Love's, 25 cents. But Ray's, and I'll tell you how Ray does it. He pretty much religiously fuels at Love's, but he plans his routes with Love's and the cheapest Love's that he can find, and he gets our discount at Love's. But Nikki did tell me that it's TA at 35 cents on average across the country. So what do you think, Christian?
I think we need to vote Congress out. I'm old enough to remember the 90s when, and I'm half kidding, but I'll get to why here in a second. And that's not a political comment because I'm going to throw them all out, right? So it's not like one blue versus red.
Mm-hmm.
But I think, in the early 90s, somewhere about there, I mean, diesel was less expensive than regular gas. And there was a tax on diesel in the 90s. And that started one of the perpetuals and the jumps. And then in the early 2000s, we had that ultra low sulfur diesel, right? And I was looking up to make sure it was accurate, and it said between 2006 and 2010, there's $80 million or $80 billion, in the infrastructure that had to get put in. And that, along with the fact that we don't have more refineries for diesel, we're putting out 2 gallons of gas for every gallon of diesel, even though the international consumption of diesel is so much greater. Right. And the last part is obviously the tax that we talked about, how much we're getting taxed every single time we fill something up. So, I mean, you look at the taxes we pay when we purchase a vehicle. They're going to charge us 3, 5, 10%, depends on the state. And then you get charged each year for having that personal property. But understanding that you get 2 gallons of gas right now, you're giving $1 in taxes. That's a lot of money.
Yeah.
And it's a reoccurring money. It's not like you purchase something one time. I mean, that's a huge tax. It's almost like a VAT tax. It's almost a value-added tax on everything we do because it's a general commodity. But we're adding in different components inside of fuel, right? To keep them between so many whatever the measurement of sulfur inside of fuel. So we have infrastructure costs. Then there's refining costs. We're not building refineries, and I half joke about the political side of things, but a lot of it is this is damage we've done to ourselves. We're continuing to raise taxes, and the guys that are out there paying for diesel prices are not everyday drivers. They are businesses and commercial drivers that rely on it for their livelihood, and that's going to get passed down through foods and goods.
Right.
Outside of that, I'd say progressive shifting. Don't overshift the truck, right? I mean, don't just mash the pedal and go. Keep your RPMs down. If you drive well with your RPMs in a majority of your speeds, I'm not saying go 70 miles an hour everywhere you go or greater, but there is 1% fuel savings, everything over 65, or you'll increase everything over 65 miles an hour, right? Every mile per hour over 65 is 1% lost.
So Bill, can you hear me? Is he still on?
Yeah, he's here.
Okay. So Bill uses an app, and I don't know anything about it. I was talking to Nikki a little today about it. It's called Mudflap. Is that right, Bill?
Yeah, I use a few of them. Mudflap is one. You attach it to the debit cards you have onto your banking account. And when you go in and purchase fuel, you usually save anywhere from 30 to 50 cents a gallon. And they're usually at the mom and pop places, which is usually cheaper than the TAs, Loves, and all that anyhow. So with that discount, you're usually 20 to 30 cents cheaper than what you would be at major truck stops.
So the one thing that you have to do, though, Bill, with that is you have to save your receipts and file it with each state that you fuel in, right?
Yeah, that is what I do.
Yeah.
I send them in with my bills of lading. That way, when you send them through the app, it attaches it. And when they put them in, and since Metal Arc keeps up with your IFTA, that's how it's kept up with. They add it in. But on the receipt, I wrote paid by driver, so they know I never used the Metal Arc card in order to purchase that fuel.
Okay, so it seems like a fairly smooth process if you with using the app and just attaching your BOL.
Unless you're in the office in Metal Arc and you're thinking, how many more receipts do I have?
Yeah, I asked Nikki about it, and she said, yeah, that's fine. They can do that. They just have to send every receipt in, and Bill apparently is doing that. So, so overall, Bill, do you think this has saved you when you start? How long have you been using this app?
Well, I use that app and the EFS, and I've been using both of them for about 6 months each.
Do you think it's changed?
Much better discounts with the EFS, though, usually. Even at a lot of the TAs and Petros, where you're only getting 35 cents a gallon with the Metal Arc savings on the EFS prepaid that I use, and I have a link I can send y'all if anybody's interested in it.
Yeah, send it.
I usually save 75 to 77 cents a gallon. The last time I went through Oklahoma City and used it at the Petro, just east of the city there, I saved $1.10 a gallon using that EFS prepaid.
So let me help our viewers understand this and me. So you're prepaying on the Mudflap app. You're loading money on it ahead of time for your fuel, correct?
No, on the Mudflap, you just simply go in and use the debit card that you have attached to Mudflap. Because of what you do, you have the Mudflap app, and let's say if you're stopping in Akron at the BP station or whatever station, and it says you're going to get it for $5.25, but it says $5.65 out at the pump.
Yeah.
You go in and tell them you need a Mudflap code. And, Mudflap gives you the code, and you give it to the lady, and then they turn your pump on. And then when you go back in and pay with the debit card that you have attached to Mudflap, it'll say that you got fuel at, say, $5.65 a gallon. But within 30 seconds to a minute, you'll get a text stating that instead of $5.65, you paid $5.25. You save 40 cents a gallon and X amount of dollars by using Mudflap.
Okay,
We're
and so
probably
it's
buying it
linked
in bulk or something. So, but it's two different things, Russ. He's using Mudflap and EFS.
and the EFS preload.
Yeah, now see, EFS,
How does that work? The preload.
you just download the EFS app. You get the card in the mail, and then you just add money to it like you would any other prepaid card. And then you download an app called Card Control, and you put your EFS card number in Card Control. Then let's say if you're leaving Akron and going to LA, it'll give you every single fuel stop that they use in between the two locations, and you can list it by the cheapest. So that way, if the cheapest would be in the area you start in, of course, I'd go ahead and fill up there. If not, I get just enough fuel to get me over to where it is the cheapest, and then I fill up. That's what I did when I got the fuel in Oklahoma City. It said that it was saving $1.10 a gallon. So I got me, I think, 60, 70 gallon. That was enough to get me over to the Petro in Oklahoma City, and I saved $1.10 a gallon. So, of course, I topped it off there.
Yeah.
And I topped off the reefer, too, at that price.
Wow. So that's pretty impressive. I know you've mentioned it to some of the guys here in the office, and but we didn't, I didn't know much about it. The EFS prepay, I didn't know anything.
I saved 78 cents a gallon at the TA in Nashville right before you get to the scales.
Yeah.
Nice.
To be honest, I've heard a lot of different areas or different things like this that offer pretty big discounts. Have we ever tried to go back and negotiate a little bit of a better discount for us on these?
I was talking to Nikki about that today. Pilot Flying J are really difficult. That's what she told me. They did do better with TA, and that was, I don't know, Christian, you probably know, but they redid the TA a year or two ago. And that got better.
And it is difficult, and a lot of it changes so often because of the volumes and everything else. I mean, I'd rather have what Mike had done to his mouth than have to deal with that. I'd rather have two root canals than have. But I mean, it is a constant negotiation, and some of it is contractual, so some of it is based on time. I know it's just like school. Sometimes you set rates in place on what you're going to have, and you have to revisit it.
And it's about the volume that you're buying too, so that changes.
So what is it? Are they so these apps that are able to offer $1 off a gallon at some places, they're just buying fuel in bulk way ahead of time, and then
No, I don't think it's ahead of time. I think it's just purchasing power by volume.
Right. So they've got a lot of drivers like Bill, way more than we have as just one company fleet. Drivers. They have more nationwide in their network that are buying it, so they're getting a bigger discount. That'd be my guess, right, Christian?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
That's
It
right.
reminds me of like a union for fuel.
Does that fuel not show up on the settlement?
Well, not only that, but when you're using that card, so part of it is how much of your pool is using it. So generally speaking, and I'm not speaking for Nikki, but I'm speaking from my past experience of when you're going to negotiate fuel and you have a fleet, they don't only want to know the volumes of your fleet. They want to know what percentage of your fleet is going to be. And then even to kind of mosey on down even further. So for instance, if we have terminals in Virginia, Ohio, and Texas, and there are certain stops that we go to more frequently, we can have higher discounts because we offer more volume at those particular locations. What Jim was heard earlier about the 1-9 network, which is a Flying J, Pilot Flying J network. That's basically the mom and pop and non-franchise, more of an independent network. They can't offer the same discounts there that they can at the large one. When Jim was talking about that.
Yeah.
So when you go through a Flying J and Pilot, they're able to offer you one discount. It may be a cost plus or retail minus program, but in that cost plus or retail minus program, they say that's just for the Pilot Flying J. If you want what benefits we have, we'll offer you the 1.9, but it's going to be at a 10-cent discount per gallon. So it's not going to be as large as the other discounts. I hope that makes sense, because even though they're one main company umbrella that they're working under, they may offer different discounts to different sects of their business.
Yeah, well, I understand what you're saying there, Christian, but what I was trying to make a point of is the pump price. It was 45 cents a gallon difference. Same fuel, 2 miles away. The pump price, though.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's some of that has to do with, if you're going to McDonald's and you're buying a cheeseburger for 99 cents, and then you go to a mom and pop that's, downtown, they're not going to have the same, even if they're part of the same network, because they're not doing the volume. It's the exact inverse of what we're doing. Think about how if we purchase more fuel, we get a higher discount. And those stations that carry more fuel and consume it more often and have different amenities will have a different price as well. It's just like the freight world. Every contract is going to be different. Everybody has a different deal. I'm not saying it's right, but I'm saying that the 1.9 networks are generally not pumping out as much fuel as the larger stations, which is why there's less bays. I mean, you tell me, were there the same amenities? Do they have the same kitchen? The same number?
To be honest with you,
Yeah.
It looked like it was an old Pilot store.
Right, and so likely it's been through an ownership hand which has not been friendly to it, right? So, and I get it. I mean, it does make you think, is there gouging going on right in front of you when you see that big of a difference, and especially two companies that are controlled or managed by one larger conglomerate. I get it. I don't like it either.
I think what Jim was saying, it was opposite. I think the smaller place offered the bigger discount.
Right, up front. Right. So up front. But if you look at what happens when you pay for it, the discount, the I-9 is going to offer you 10 cents. Whereas if you're in a Pilot Flying J network, and depending on your purchase power. Okay, go ahead, Jim.
When I went into 1.9 network, I used my Pilot Flying J card to get my rewards.
Right, but what was your pump discount?
I don't know what the pump discount was because I haven't got the fuel settlement on that yet. Okay. But it was a actual Pilot fuel card that I put in there. I used ComData to pay for it, right, but I also used the Pilot for rewards. And then they also, on top of it all, when I was looking at my fuel receipt, I got a $7.30 fleet bonus back on my card, my rewards card, plus the 5 cents a gallon that Pilot offers us anyway at any Pilot.
So give me the pump prices again that you had. What was it at the I-9 or the 1.9?
The 1.9 was like $5.44.
Okay.
And at the Flying J, it was like $5.96.
So the discounts that you're going to have from a Flying J on a card are going to be significantly higher than the 1.9, right? And the pump manufacturer, I mean, the companies know that, right? They know that if you're running with a Flying J or Pilot program and that's strictly where you're driving to, that's where they're going to offer that discount. I will make a contact to someone that I have at ComData. Do you know roughly what date that was? Was this recently? I didn't catch that part.
It was last week during the show.
Okay. So Wednesday.
Just before we did the show last week.
Okay. And Russ, if you're cool with me to bring this up and revisit it next week, just so we can look at generally what the discounts are. Even just those two pumps on that particular day from a vendor that's pushing, 80 to 100,000 gallons a month.
I mean, let's face it, we should be talking about fuel every week. It's just our biggest enemy, biggest expense. Kevin, Nate, Bill, what do you guys think about what things you could do other than speed, other than slowing down, that could help on fuel, help on how much you use?
I feel about planning my trip.
Yeah. Which that's amazing. That's number one. Plan better for your stops. Yep.
Keep a check on your fuel filters.
So, I couldn't hear you, Kev.
I say keep a check on your fuel filters.
Yeah. Keep them clean.
Yeah.
Another the one that I think doesn't get through to a lot of drivers is fueling where it's cheapest. I understand a lot of guys are in a position where they need to fuel for the load, but I promise you, if you can, just fuel where it's cheapest and don't try to fuel 20 gallons or 50 gallons for this load, because this delivers 50 miles down the road and you're going to turn it in to get paid on, but you end up paying 60 cents more a gallon, 2 days later because, or a day later. I see it all the time. Yeah. And in the long run, it's going to kill you. It's going to hurt you to just keep fueling for just that load.
Yeah.
Because then you're really not watching fuel prices. You're just
throwing money out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so true. And I use Ray as an example all the time because the dude has it figured out. He's been with us a long time. He does really well with fuel. He probably spends the least amount of fuel per week on our fleet for the same amount of miles, and he's been that way for a long time. And he says the same thing as you, Mike. He doesn't care if it's the end of a load and he's got 30, 40 miles to go, but he knows that there's fuel right here that's going to save him 40, 50 cents or whatever. He's going to fill up, and he knows it'll balance out on the next load, that he'll have that fuel and it'll balance out. So that's so true.
Because let's say you don't slow down, take the slowing down out of it, but you just trip plan, you just find places you can fuel that are 30 cents a gallon cheaper. Just do those few little things. You can probably save a lot of that money that you talked about. That's, you can probably hit that $300 or $400 mark, or $200 or $300 mark a week to save, just aside from the speed part of it. If you're not already doing it, if you trip plan, if you fuel where it's cheapest and just stop fueling for the load.
The difference between, like I said earlier, 5 miles at a gallon at 2,500 miles is $2,800. 7 is 2,000 roughly.
So how many gallons is that, Russ?
500 gallons on 2,500 miles at 5 miles at a gallon, and 357 gallons at 7. That's a lot of fuel that you're not buying. I'm not saying that. Yeah, 500 gallons you will buy on 2,500 miles at 5 miles at a gallon.
So if you found it, if you did your trip plan and you found it 25 cents cheaper at is $125 a week. I mean, it's still
and that's Mike, you're hitting it nail on the head. That's exactly what I'm asking, because so many guys don't slow down. What other things can you do if you can't slow down? If you're just one of those guys that's going to go 75, if it's speed limit 75 or 72, if you're going to go that speed that you're used to driving everywhere, what are the other things you could do? And you hit the nail on the head. I mean, trip planning, saving what you can and fueling at the right spots and filling up. Those are some of the things, and that's what I was asking the drivers too. What else can you do?
Lighter loads.
Lighter loads.
Legal or illegal?
Legal.
There's the Fuel Book app is another good one that you can trip plan on, that you can put in your parameters that if you have COM data or EFS, you can put in your starting point, ending point, and it'll give you all the places to fuel that take COM data on that route. And it'll give you the cheapest, the top 10, or you can set up your filters however you want to find the cheapest places. But that's the one that I always use, was Fuel Book. I think that's the one Ray uses too.
Yeah, I've used that one before.
And
it's been around.
And what about like aerodynamics? Because like I
was going to bring that up. And lastly, we're going to get on to trucking questions with Kumar, but.
Was that a question? I went.
No, but I was going to bring that up before we take off into questions with Kumar. We had Henry Albert on here a couple of times, and some of the things that really stuck with me was aerodynamics. He said if I can improve my fuel mileage by 1/10 of a percent, or 1/10 of a mile per gallon better, by just Christian, what was it, moving his license plate from dress to stop that drag
from underneath the,
and then changing his CB antennas, instead of just having these big antennas that stick up like this and create resistance. There's another 1/10 of a gallon, mile per gallon. Just walk around your truck. I'm not saying that you have to change those things or you have to do them all at once, but if there's something simple that you might be able to change that makes it more aerodynamic, and you're doing what Mike says, where you're fueling at the right spots, you're planning, and what Bill Parsley said, planning your fuel and fueling at the right spots to save the most. So there's a couple things without even getting into slowing down. And what if you slowed it down a little bit on top of doing those things? I mean, it all adds up.
Yeah, and what about, I see a lot of drivers with like those kind of like flaps on their doors in the back. Have you ever seen that?
Yeah.
It's kind of like...
it's for aerodynamics.
Yeah,
to let
like those trailer wind tails.
Yep.
Yeah, do those help?
And Kumar doesn't know anything about trucking. That's why we hired him. And he does trucking questions with Kumar, but he does know about flaps on the back of the trailer.
I see them.
Yeah.
And take those heavy chains home for the summer.
And there are drivers. I mean, on the dry vans, they most of them I think have the wings or whatever you call it underneath skirts. Most of them have the skirts, and when I know AC, when he gets if he drops and hooks and there's no skirts, he's losing his mind because he knows about 1/10 of a mile per gallon, 2/10. Those things make a difference. So anyway, we're gonna get on to trucking questions with Kumar, but I really wanted to bring it out there to let you know about the fuel and what you can do. And just with slowing down, or just with some of the things that Doty and Christian said, or the guys said, just give it some thought. Walk around your truck and see if some of those things can be changed, or driving
There's one
habits.
other thing I'd like to bring up, Russ.
Go ahead, Jim.
When you're going into the truck stops, always check the clearance box. There's a lot of times I'll find fuel additives in there that are marked down half, maybe more of price to get them off the shelves. They'll increase the cellulane in your fuel, which helps also, not only that, but helps keep your injectors clean and all that stuff out of your motor to make it run properly.
Yeah.
And I agree that full price on that stuff is outrageous.
It's kind of hard, yeah.
But if you watch the clearance aisles, you can get that same stuff for half price or more, and it really does help. And I'll buy it. I'll stock it up. If they've got 5 of them in there, one bottle will treat 200 gallons, I buy all 5 of them.
Yeah, I'm with you, Jim, on that.
I don't use it every tank.
I forget.
I will every other. So
I forget what we used to buy, Joel. But when Joel and I were on the road, you remember, Joel, I used to tell you this stuff. I'm telling you, it's changing my miles per gallon. And I was doing the math, and it kind of was blowing me away. And then because at first I was like, I don't know if this justifies the price, but you look at the products. I'm not gonna throw any out there because it's been too long since I've been on the road, but it did work for me and Joel, and like Jim says, it works. So that's another thing to check out. All right,
if you're
Joel.
running DEF, get it clean. You can probably gain a mile per gallon or close to just by doing that. If you're DPFs, it's clogged up
with some Pittsburgh power.
Yep.
There you go. Junior Reyes Place, DPF Alternatives. It works, and we know now because we've used them. Joel, trucking questions with Kumar and our drivers and Bill Parsley.
All right. Here we go. No commercial. Right into it. Kumar, you ready for this?
I'm ready.
Let's do questions with Kumar. Question number 1. Here we go. Guys, can you hear me?
Yep.
All right. Always perform the steps of a pre-trip inspection in the same order each time because A, you will be less likely to forget something. B, you will have more time to complete the inspection. C, it is required by your company. D, it is required by the law.
So before you answer, Bill Parsley, don't answer yet. Kumar,
by the way, Bill Parsley lost.
Oh, he lost signal.
Yeah,
okay, then I don't have to explain.
He might be back.
Kevin, Nate, and Jim are on here. They know the deal.
So who's covering who?
Oh yeah, well, who's got who? You, Doty, since you did it last week, I think, Christian, and we doubled down and you lost. I believe that was
We
the
didn't
last
do questions last week.
or the week before. You're right.
Yeah, it was 2 weeks ago.
Yeah. So Doty, who do you want? You want Kumar? Or you want the drivers?
I got Kumar.
He's got Kumar.
Good choice.
All right.
I
So
almost
what do you
about that.
think, Kumar?
So what do you
It's A.
think, Kumar?
It's A.
You think A?
I was a custodian, so I know a thing or two about doing things in the right order. Yeah.
All right. Well,
Drivers.
that's his final answer. Drivers, so always perform the steps of a pre-trip in same order each time because you will be less likely to forget something. You'll be more likely to complete the inspection required by your company, required by the law. What do you got? Kumar says, A, you will be less likely to forget something.
Is he right?
Yeah, I go with A
Yeah.
also.
I agree.
Hey,
Mike's
Kumar
smiling
gets-
over here.
Yeah. Kumar gets the points.
Yeah. Yeah, when I was a custodian, the people who
did
got
pre-trip.
fired the quickest were the ones that didn't do their stuff in a certain order every day, so they always forgot a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
So that was like number one rule of being a janitor.
On trucking, it's you walk around the truck and check that it's not cracked, bent, or broken.
Same in
and move the tire chocks.
Yeah.
All right,
Joel.
Congratulations, you got that one right. Question number 2. By the way, Kumar, do you know what you call a trucker that doesn't drive anymore?
No, what do you call him?
Semi-retired. Question number 2. How many senses does a shark have? Is it A, is it 4, is it B, 5, C, 6, or D, 7? They teach you that in custodian school?
So
yeah, I clean sharks. So
because we're doing the fishing contest through Labor Day, we're throwing in, just in case you're wondering why it's a fishing question, we're throwing in fishing questions all summer long.
I'd have to say 6. They can talk to dead people.
We're not looking at movies. We're talking about sharks. How many senses do they have?
He says
4, 5,
6.
6, or 7. Says 6.
Drivers.
I'm going to go with 6. I'll stay with 6.
Kevin, Nate, Mackie, you guys know anything about sharks?
No.
I don't want to be
Very
around
little.
them.
Yeah. How many senses do you think they have? What was it, Joel? 2, 4, 6, or 7?
4, 5, 6, or 7.
4, 5, 6, or 7.
I want to hear Mike's answer too.
I would have said 6, but being Kumar said it, I'm going to say 5.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll go with 5 also.
Nate, are you with him, Nate?
Yeah.
Okay.
I
Mike,
don't really know. I'd have to guess 7. I don't know.
what is it, Joel?
He guessed 7. All right. So the answer that I made up, the answer that I found was how many senses does a shark have? They have 7.
7.
Smell, sight, sound, touch, taste, electrical receptors, and pressure changes.
So just because Doty got
Really?
it, it doesn't mean Kumar got it. They're on the same team.
Exactly what it means.
Huh.
So, but
That's
Kumar's,
interesting.
no one got that. Kumar's still winning 1-0.
All right. And
Question 3.
Why are they so easy to weigh, these fish?
What? Why?
To weigh?
Yeah. Because they have
'Cause
their
they
own
always have
scales.
scales.
Christian. Question number 3. A driver can rely on front wheel braking to work. A, on dry roadways only. B, under all conditions. C, all conditions except snow. What do you think, Kumar?
All conditions except snow.
He says all conditions except snow.
Front wheel braking to work. Guys, drivers, what do you think? Dry roadways only, under all conditions except snow.
I guess it would be like, I don't know.
You already answered.
Yeah.
Dry roads only.
Yeah, dry roads only.
Dang, you're making me look bad now. This is B, under all conditions. A driver
That's what I was thinking.
But you didn't answer that.
Yeah.
can rely.
Because I figured snow. That was a. I don't know.
Front wheel braking to work under all conditions. All right. And why should you never drive next to a chameleon?
Why is that?
Because he might turn into you. Question number
Somebody stop
4.
this guy.
I'm getting mad.
How many taste buds does a catfish have? Over 1,000. B, over 10,000. C, around 25,000. Or D, around 100,000 taste buds. Talking catfish here.
Catfish.
This is question 4, and it's still 1-0 Kumar. These were tough ones, Joel.
Let's go over 100,000.
How big is this catfish's tongue?
I don't know. I don't know.
All right, guys, you, Mike.
Wow, Mike, he was all confident in the beginning. Mike, your money's just floating away from you.
I'm squirming right now.
Come on, drivers.
These are
Save
hard.
me some money.
25,000.
25,000, Mackie says. Kevin, Nate, you have any idea?
1,000, 10,000, 25,000, over 100,000.
Or are you sticking with Jim?
What
If
was
if he's asking you that question, it means he wants you to stick with Jim.
Yeah. I'll stick with Jim. 'Cause I don't know.
How many taste buds do a catfish have? Jim Mack, you were right.
One to
Around
one.
25,000 taste buds.
Sorry, Mike.
Nice, Jim. Way to bail us out. Do you have another question for a tiebreaker, Joel?
Yeah.
Okay.
Why didn't Noah do much fishing on the ark?
Why?
Because he only had 2 worms. And lastly, all right, last one. Here we go. Question number 5. Why are multi-speed axles and auxiliary transmissions used? A, to make a vehicle operate more smoothly. B, to provide extra gears. Or C, to improve a vehicle's fuel mileage.
B.
Do you remember the question?
Something to do with auxiliary power and.
Why are multi-speed axles and auxiliary transmissions used, Jim? You guys know, to make the vehicle operate more smoothly, to provide extra gears, to improve fuel mileage.
To improve fuel mileage.
Fuel mileage. What'd you say, Kumar?
He said B.
I said B.
Well, darn it, that was right.
What?
To provide extra gears.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Kumar wins.
Yeah, I mean,
I thought we were going to pull.
I don't think
was
you're looking
with
for fuel mileage in a truck, are you?
I was with Kumar. I'm sorry. I was with the drivers on that. I thought we had it.
Darn it. All right, last one. You hear about the driver that spilled toupees all over the freeway?
No.
Well, the cops are still combing the scene. All right.
With that, Ian, take us out on the news.
Ooh.
We gotta get to the news this week. We're almost out.
I forgot about the news.
We're bumping up against Seinfeld's coming on next on Talkin Truckin channel.
6:30.
Hello, all. Mm-hmm. Oh, crap. I lost my day of the week from history thing.
So high energy.
Franklin Roosevelt introduced the GI Bill of Rights today. There you go.
Yes.
Oh, John Hinckley was denied being able to use or pleading insanity for shooting Ronald Reagan. He was denied that.
He's trying to put out some new music, by the way. Go check it out.
He was just released last week.
He from prison?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
Welcome back into the world, John.
Yeah, he's trying to get like a record deal right now. Like he's putting out actual like music.
So I can't believe a guy shot and could have killed the president and got out of prison.
He's looking for Brandon now. No, never mind.
That's why you don't use 22s to do that. All right. Here we are looking at Port of Savannah. It is kicking. It is in high gear. There is 30 ships waiting to get in there, which I think is it's about on par or more than what was going in Los Angeles. Yeah, wow. It's more over in Savannah than there is in Los Angeles.
That changed.
Well, at least from what I can see on here, there might be some numbers that are a little hard to see. Here's Port Los Angeles. Oh yeah, just over 30, close to 40 ships they have waiting out there. Which, looking at this, we are still having numbers that are higher than last year. I am very, very curious to see what happens with this red line here for the rest of the year. What do you guys think? Do you think it's going to jump up dramatically or kind of stay on par for what it was last year? Or will it not even be close and we'll just have a straight bar across?
I would say, there's a lot of congestion in China still. Mm-hmm. So
it's all getting lifted or starting to.
Yeah, I still say, like I did a few weeks ago, we're going to see some of that bottleneck on the West Coast again. Maybe not as bad, but I think we're going to see some of it. So I would say, just a guess, but I would say the red line kind of mimics what you see there on the blue line.
I think you're going to see a spike, a little bit stronger spike until August. I don't know. I feel like it might fall off in the later season just because those people that are concerned about not getting their products by the holidays weren't ordering them.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. The only thing I can really think of that's really going to be different this year is the quote-unquote recession that we're going through. It could affect buyers, for the holiday season and, just other things in general. Mm-hmm. We could see a little bit of decrease on what they are expecting to come in.
Yeah.
That's the only thing that I can see.
I don't think we'll see the holiday spike like we normally do as much this year.
Right. Because last year they were giving out checks and people were ready to spend money. And
yeah, but if that's the case, it's going to happen earlier than November, December. You'll see
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's one thing we definitely need to watch out for. I remember reporting this last year when the container crisis was getting real crazy over in Los Angeles. They were starting to put on fees for ocean carriers that weren't getting their empty containers out of the port. So when they started that, they started pushing it off, and pushing it off, and pushing it off. Well, they are still pushing it off. No one's getting charged for empty containers sitting there. There's no point in them even saying that they were going to try and do something when they just never did. So it's just silly. Over off at 81 over by Christian. Christian is going to be doing a lot of inspections, so watch out. No, DOT is going to be kind of doing a little bit of a blitz over there. Christian, do you know much more about that?
I know exactly what you have. That's to the extent of it, but I know that you have the other one coming too. Route 95, you have that one too.
Do they? I think so. I said, and don't you guys have a way station not too far from you?
We do, yeah. It's about 4 miles as the bird flies that way. Yep.
It was a pretty major one too.
Do they say what they're looking for, or is just like a general?
Everything.
Yeah, and do you have the other one for 95 on there as well?
I don't know if I still have it.
Okay.
It's in somewhere.
So it's not only 81, which is on the north and south on the western side of the state, but 95 as well. So we have both major intersections of Virginia that are going to be super inspected.
Do they have usually this many inspections around this time every year?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's pretty much, yeah.
Gotcha.
When you say, guys, it's pretty much.
Yeah, they got the breaking. They have
these.
Yeah, they've got the blitzes and all going on, but I feel like some of them are making up for lost time. Like they kind of missed us, Well,
that could be. There could be more inspections, but they do blitzes every year.
Okay,
yes,
gotcha.
Yeah, got to make them quotas. All right, so this was a big one. 100,000 plus trucks recalled for defect that could cause loss of steering control. And I mean, this is affecting every manufacturer. It says 29 manufacturers have purchased the recalled steering gears, including Volvo, Navistar, Peterbilt, Kenworth, and Daimler. I mean, that's basically.
Well, the good news is we don't have supply chain issues, so they should have plenty of those in stock.
Good one. So yeah, this could get messy. Hopefully they can figure out something so that trucks aren't down for long periods of time. I don't think we're going to see this start right away, but they are going to have to send out all these notifications and get guys through. So we'll see what happens. We'll update you guys as that comes through. Autonomous truck manufacturer is working with police to figure out how to let a police officer safely pull over a truck, an autonomous truck. Which, how the heck are they going to do that?
Yeah, I never thought of that.
Also,
I think I would, if I was getting pulled over, I'd pretend that the truck was autonomous, and then I would just duck down there.
I was in the bunk. I didn't know what was happening up here.
Only see the guy in the passenger side.
Not to knock on police too hard, but they don't always handle people not following their orders the best. So I'd really like to see what they could come up with in order to stop a truck like this.
Why would they pull over an autonomous truck when they would go the speed limit?
Well, I'm saying because maybe the technology isn't perfect.
Yeah.
And I watched Chips as a kid, and they had brakes that got too hot and he couldn't stop. So I imagine autonomous is the same way.
Right.
That governor got unstuck.
Maybe the vehicle is unsafe. There's something, maybe a tire blew and the truck doesn't recognize it.
Or it's dragging something down the road that it can't see on its bumper.
Hit a deer.
Yeah. Or what if somebody else hit the truck? And we've seen those videos of cars being dragged by trucks that were in an accident. So
Stop, slow down. I can't hear you.
Yeah, I wonder if the sensors, I wonder if you hit it and it had a bumper peeling off of it, what it would do.
Right. Would it know to stop? Would
or under its undercarriage, just wrapping it around.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I guess there's still drivers in the seats
Wait
right
to
now.
receiver.
But I hope that what they do is every time they need to stop a truck, they'll just shoot the tires out. That'll get the job done. So, not New Orleans, Louisiana is putting in some cameras on. I cannot even pronounce this. Someone's gonna have to help me with this.
I can't see it from here.
Massachusetts.
All right.
Atchafalaya.
Atchafalaya.
That's that swamp in Louisiana.
Where's that
Atchafalaya.
Atchafalaya.
Louisiana.
It's off 10, right?
Yeah.
Well, I guess this is a bridge that they've had a lot of trouble with accidents and fatalities. So they are putting up cameras to there to try and see people speeding. So make sure you slow down going across the bridge there.
Is that 18-mile bridge?
Yeah, you don't want to break down there.
Yeah, it's real low.
I tell you, it's terrible on there.
Yeah.
You go across there, and the speed limit for trucks is like 55. Cars are 60.
Yep.
And you'll be going down, and trucks are supposed to use the right lane. And you'll be going 55 mile an hour in the right lane, and anybody and everybody just flies right past you, trucks and all. Whoa. It is terrible. They need to do something.
Wow.
Yeah, and it's not high. It's like over a swampy area.
Yeah, I can see that.
And it's only like 8 or 10 feet above the swamp, and because I remember running over that all the time, and it's a long ways. I thought it was 21 miles, but it might be 18.
I think it's
34 on there.
But yeah, I wouldn't want to wreck. See how low? See the water? That's full of alligators, man.
What about alligators?
I'm afraid
I've
of
actually
alligators.
seen alligators on the banks underneath the bridge.
Yeah, I have too. I believe. Yeah.
Imagine that. You survive an accident on this bridge. You're on the...
And you get eaten by an alligator. Jeez.
Fire,
can't
jump
believe
in water.
What a way to go.
Yeah.
They won't fool with you. It'd be all right.
Win the fishing contest.
So is that
one last thing? If,
okay?
Anybody at all is interested in purchasing a 2008 Western Star Super Sleeper with all the bells and whistles, give me a shout. I know somebody.
Good driver. I don't know what.
Just completely meticulous.
Yeah, really good guy.
Records with his maintenance.
Possibly retiring or something, but he's got how big is he's got there's a full shower, bathroom, water bed,
Full shower.
or maybe not water bed, but
there is a shower, toilet, oven,
sink. Yeah, it's the big condo sleeper.
Bowling alley.
It's a nice truck.
Give me a shout. I can get you in contact with him. He takes care of
and he put a
his
new
equipment.
motor in it, kind of like you did, Mike. He spent about the same money
I think
last
he
year.
said over the past 5 or 10 years, he's put $60,000 into that truck.
Well, he spent about close to what Mike spent on a motor. I know that. That was a year ago. So the motor's it's brand new and under warranty too. So anyway, I got pulled over by the state troopers yesterday. I was taking my son to his mom's, and the construction was so bad, so I decided to take a different route home, and I was cruising down the state route, and it's a 45 mile an hour speed limit, and there's a hippie lady in front of me just looking with her arm out the window, beads all over. I'm right up on her, and there's a line of cars behind me, and she's going like 28 in a 45, and it's a long stretch across there, and the line of cars behind me. I'm looking for a place it's clear. It was hilly. We got to a flat stretch, and I blasted out around her. There was nothing coming, and I was like, and I wasn't speeding. I just got past her, and I was going 45, and here come about I don't know a mile or so up, Ohio State Patrol, lights on. He comes up. I pulled over. He says, "Do you know why I pulled you over, sir?" I said, "No, I really don't, because I wasn't speeding." He goes, "Because you passed in a no passing zone."
Double yellow.
And I was like, listen, she was going 28 miles an hour. I was stuck behind her for a long time, and there was a line of cars. He goes, I know, I was the third car back. I was like, shoot. So he took my license and stuff, and I knew I was nailed. I thought I was getting a ticket. And he came back, he ran me, he came back up there. I have a CDL and stuff, but I have a clean record, and I haven't had a ticket in 30 years, and since I was 20. And he came back up there, and he said, Mr. Deaton, have a good night. And he goes, don't be in such a hurry next time. I was like, I'm sorry, sir. Thanks for the break.
He's getting paid by the hour.
Yeah.
That's why he didn't mind.
Thanks for the break. I really appreciate it.
He pulled out the stats on how much gas you'd save.
You
if
could
just
save.
slowed down.
That's great. All right, with that, Christian, Doty, Joel, Ian, Kumar, you guys got anything else?
I got something.
Yeah.
Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Spotify, and submit your fishing pictures. I made a new email because I didn't like the old email. It is now talkintruckin@gmail.com. I figured it would be way easier.
There you go. I like that better too.
So there's that. That's all I got.
Talkin Truckin, no G's, at Gmail. The only G is Gmail.
Mm-hmm. The only G is Gmail.
So TalkinTruckin at gmail.com. Send your pictures there. Do it on the Facebook, all that. And other than that, go Browns, go Guardians, and go Cavaliers.